Welcome to the Darkstream. VoxDay, voxday.blogspot.com, and Rabid Puppies. Hang on, I got this backwards. I'm going to flip it over. There we go. Sort of. Much better. Yeah, Rabid Puppies for the win. It was kind of cool. I was reading an article on the UNS review today, and it was interesting because I was just reading along and I didn't even think about it, and I thought, wait a minute. And I looked back, and the citation, the historical citation that they had made was from Infogalactic, and the link was to Infogalactic. So it's nice to see that more and more people online are beginning to switch over from Wikipedia to Infogalactic. You know, obviously this is just starting. It's not something that we're actively pushing very hard yet, because I was talking to some folks today, and they were saying, well, it seems like not much has changed at Infogalactic in the last month or so. And I said, well, no. Other than the verified pages, nothing has changed. Nor are we trying to change anything, because right now what we're doing is we're completely ripping out the guts and the infrastructure, and we're completely rebuilding the whole inner system. And that's much more important than new features, new users, that kind of stuff at the moment. Now, obviously, it's very important that we have the support from the burn unit. It's very important that people are using it and coming up with ideas and that sort of thing. But the right now is basically a transition time, and it's going to be that way for 6 to 9 months. And then once we have the new setup, once we have the new infrastructure, then everything changes. And it is a massive undertaking. It's an absolutely massive undertaking, but we're capable of doing this. We're patient. We know what we're doing. We're taking things one step at a time, and it's going great. So, anyhow, why is the alt-right inevitable? Why are organizations like the Anti-Defamation League attacking all of these people, 36 different people, ranging from alt-right and alt-white to the softest alt-light? Why? Because the counterculture threatens them. For example, I got I got an email, several emails, from Rolling Stone magazine recently. Now my immediate instinct was to just say no. I'm not at all interested in talking to the media. We don't talk to fake news, that sort of thing. But they came back and said, well, wait, we're not actually, we're not interested in you or the alt-right. We want to talk to you about Castelli House. And so I thought, okay. But I don't, as a general rule, I don't talk to the media. I thought, well, we can do the written questions and whatnot. But then it became clear that and a bait and switch is possible, except for I don't think it's too likely, because the reporters is going to have to go far enough out of their way. I've warned them. I've warned them, if they're going to sit there and ask me the usual sort of hit piece questions, I'm just going to sit there and wait until they ask me something that I'm interested in discussing, which is the kind of stuff that they said they want to discuss. And so, I've talked to Cernovich about this. This is the main thing, because like I said, I'm turning down this stuff left, right, and center. I'm turning down the New York Times, and turning down the Washington Post, and turning down all of these things, right? So again, why are they interested in Castelli House? Well, it's pretty obvious. Milo's book is #1 on Amazon. The book that we just released, The Law Dog Files, went to number 82 on Amazon and was #1 in humor and entertainment, ahead of Al Franken's book, ahead of Milo's book. So people are understanding and aware. And so we can no longer simply pretend that we don't exist. They can't pretend that we don't exist. And we can't pretend that that nobody is aware of it. And so, and this is a well, we do appreciate that. Thanks very much for your support. I hope you've enjoyed all of them. Yeah, I mean, Mike's mantra was to get too big to ignore. Okay, first of all, please don't try to do the whole, like, I know what I'm doing and I'm warning you thing, okay? I'm very aware of all this stuff. This is not the first time that Castelli House has been attacked. I mean, obviously you're not aware of the whole Hugo thing, the Hugo Awards thing, where media institutions from The Guardian in England to the New Jersey Herald in New Zealand, or to the New Zealand Herald in New Zealand, to the Entertainment Weekly, was attacking Castelli House. Okay, that's what this shirt refers to. So just understand, I'm aware of this. So just please don't try to do the whole, like, only wise man in the room thing. All right. The point is that there is, Mike talks about balancing what the potential gain versus the potential cost is. Okay, so when you're doing the usual thing, when they normally contact you, for the average person who's in the alt-right, the alt-light, whatever, what the normal type of media contact you get is that they are going to use you as an example, bolstering their narrative in a story that isn't about you, and it's about something else. All right, and so that's the kind of stuff you need to stay away from. Okay, if they say they're going to do a profile of you, if they say that's, I mean, the Spencer dance, if you want. Those sort of things are absolutely not worthwhile, because there's no benefit. People are not going to learn anything positive about you. They're not going to be intrigued and look into what you're really saying and all that sort of thing. I mean, that whole line of reasoning that the alt-white and that Spencer uses is just outmoded and wrong now in today's media age. Other types of stories, like, for example, what was very, very successful for Mike was that Atlantic profile about him. Now, why would that be something that was effective for him? Whereas, I'm telling you, when they say we want to do a profile, we want to tell your side of the story. Don't buy that. Don't do that. The difference is the institution itself. Okay. No, you can't get this. Again, stop with telling me what you think you should do. You're amateurs. You know nothing about it. Just drop it, okay? Reporters have no power to agree to anything whatsoever. Get them to do this. No, you're not going to get them to do anything, ever, because they have no power, okay? Look, I'm a 3-time former nationally syndicated columnist. I know how it works, okay? So just drop it. But there are certain institutions that have to do things that are not just basic hit pieces. Okay, the Atlantic if the Atlantic is sending somebody to spend 48 hours embedded with you, that means that they are going to be writing a significant story. The narrative, they will have a narrative, they will take their shots, it's not going to be a fawning thing, but they have to essentially paint a picture. They paint a story, right? So like in this particular case, well, it's not so much looking for the next trend, it's they are recognizing who the next people that matter are. If you notice, after the, I thought it was New York or Atlantic, whatever, there are okay, this guy is really annoying. We're not talking about your agenda. When you're dealing with something like a 60 Minutes, when you're dealing with something like a New Yorker, whether you're dealing with something like a Rolling Stone, these are the trendsetters. Okay, these are the ones who say, okay, this is what matters now. And so that's why you have to pay some attention to those particular institutions, because what it means is they're going to do this anyhow. And so you can either give them an insight into it or not. Yeah, in this case, like when you're talking about National Geographic coming to talk to you about Confederate monuments, that's the kind of thing you want to stay away from. Okay? National Geographic is not a trendsetter. National Geographic is using you to fit its narrative. They already have the narrative written. They already have the story written. And all they want is an example. So what they'll do is they'll talk to you for hours and hours and hours. And then they will get that one or two quotes that they will then use to plug in to their narrative that's already written. So that's why you should not do that. You should not talk to National Geographic about that. Okay? Now, so how is that different than what we're talking about with Castelli House? Okay? Well, what is Castelli House's biggest problem? Our biggest challenge is that nobody knows about it. Very few people know about it. And so, I'm not worried about a false narrative. What are they going to say? That we're all Nazis? Well, we publish Hitler in Hell by the Israeli military historian Martin van Creveld. So they're not going to try that narrative. It's not going to work. Now, I already have a pretty good idea of what the narrative is going to be. It's going to be, uh-oh, look out, this is the intellectual arm of their books suck. That's highly unlikely. They might try it, but again, that's not a narrative that works very well, because all you have to do is look at the... First of all, it doesn't fit the narrative. Why are you doing a story about a small publishing house if their books suck? Okay, the interesting story is that here is these very high quality books coming out of the counterculture, the alt-right, and they're actually very good. But beware. Okay? So you can see where that narrative falls squarely into the whole Supreme Dark Lord motif. So that's why I'm not concerned about it, as long as it is genuinely an interview about Castelli House and about our books. I can talk about our books for days. I mean, I can talk about Awake in the Nightland and the missionaries and the Galactic Liberation series and the Law Dog Files. You know, these are really great books. And so, you know, we've got stuff that's going to be coming out soon that's going to blow people away. The Palace of Sin, which I'm working on editing right now by Stefan Molyneux. It's fantastic. I mean, an equation of almost infinite complexity. It's fantastic. And so, you know, and I haven't even mentioned any of my own books. So, you know, that's very different than, you know, somebody coming to talk to me and basically trying to catch me out on the basis of a column that I wrote 15 years ago. And if they do that, I mean, I'm prepared for the possibility that they'll do that. If they do that, then I'm simply not going to ask the questions. I'll just start talking about how good The Missionaries is, or when the next audiobook is coming out, or when Owen Stanley's next book is coming out. He's the author of The Missionaries. You can buy some books direct from Castelli, others only through Amazon. The Palace of Sin is The God of Atheists. We've changed the name. But no books by SJWs. That's not a trap. We may not have any books by SJWs, but we have books by men of the left. We just signed Steve Keen, the Australian economist. You know, he is the most important economist in the world today. His work is revolutionary and his work is groundbreaking, and we are publishing his Debunking Economics in audiobook, and we are publishing his magnum opus, which he's working on right now. So the whole idea that we are simply a bunch, I mean, it is not even remotely credible to claim that we're just a bunch of racist Nazis running around writing terrible Nazi fiction. I mean, ironically, I don't think that we even have, I'm not sure that we have a single book that involves Nazis in any way, shape, or form, which is a lot more than you can say for SJW writers like Charles Stross. Well, okay, I guess Hitler and Hell would count as Nazis, but I meant other than the obvious. So I hope you understand the point, but let's get back to why the alt-right is inevitable. The reason the alt-right is inevitable is because the left is choking off every other option. You know, when you look at the Cuckservatives, or you look at the moderates that some of the folks on the blog thought we ought to start calling Cluckservatives because all they ever do is cluck, 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 and tisk, tisk, tisk. All of them are being caught up and overswept by the SJWs because they're afraid of them. You know, to paraphrase that old saying that any institution that is not specifically anti-left will become left-wing. Anything that is not actively opposed to convergence will in time be converged. Because if you don't have the courage to stand up against it, then you're going to submit to it. And it doesn't matter what it is. You know, people thought, oh, it doesn't matter when it was just games. Then they thought, oh, it doesn't matter, it's just books. Oh, it doesn't matter, it's just comics. Oh, it doesn't matter, it's just open source. Oh, it's beer? Oh my gosh, they're converging our beer? Well, first of all, we don't have all white male authors. We have female authors. We have American Indian authors. You know, we have Asian authors. I'm sure Chia Kai-wai would be surprised to hear that he's white, as would Charles Shao. You know, so I mean, honestly, I think in our I mean, that's the other thing about it that just doesn't work. We're not an American publisher. You know, we have, I think, 5 or 6 different languages just in our core group. I think of the core group of, we worked it out once, in the core group of editors and publishers, I think the average IQ is 150. You know, that's how we're able to get so much stuff done so efficiently, is because literally everybody involved is extremely intelligent. Yeah, that's the average. Some of the guys are a little higher, some of them are a little lower, but you know, and so you know, that's just how it's worked out. There's no such thing as genius IQ. Yeah, we've got a lot of Gen X submissions. I haven't had really any chance to look at them yet because we've been extremely busy. And so, you know, we'll get to it in a bit when we can. Right now, I've got to get SJWs always double down done, and I've also got to get some stuff. You know, we've got plenty of editing to do. Molyneux's book, Moira's book. Yeah, I mean, actually, that ADL list, if you think about it, there's actually four Castelli authors on that list, and that's definitely something that I'll bring up to them because, you know, it's ridiculous. So, anyhow, the point is that this is going to continue to happen. This is just one area, books, but it's going to happen in every area. You're going to see it in comics. You're going to see it. Yes, I have a number of non-white authors behind me. I have books in German, Italian. I think I even have a couple in Japanese. Anyhow, the key thing to understand. Yeah, okay, I really don't care about this guy. No, we're not going to talk about the Minneapolis shooting. There's not enough known yet. Anyhow, the key thing to understand is that as long as you focus on what you're doing, on focusing on it well, and focusing on the truth, that is going to give you an advantage over anything created by SJWs, because everything that the SJWs do is based in dishonesty and is based in deception. And so they can, you know, they can converge in an organization, but in doing so, it's like cancer. They destroy it. And that creates new opportunities for companies like Castelli, for companies like Gab, for things like Counterfund. There's all kinds of tremendous opportunities that are all there for the taking for those who are willing to make the effort and take the risk. You know, so I would encourage those of you who have ideas and who are attempting to move forward to do so, because this is the time to do it. And as the trend moves in that direction, as the trend continues in that direction, it is going to boost those who took the time and took the risk to get in early, because the trend is moving that way. So, on that note, I will leave you, but thanks for tuning in. Those of you who are participating in the daily meme wars, thanks. It's growing it's literally growing every day. And also, if you are interested in the Law Dog files, I'll give you a little heads up. It is now possible to pre-order the next Law Dog files, which are going to be coming out sooner than anybody thinks. So if you poke around on Amazon, you should be able to find the pre-order. We'll be announcing it next week. So have a good evening. Talk to you soon.